in Premier League this opening day of the season. How about that? Home fans go home happy. And the first clean sheet of 2024 as well as Pacific beat Halifax 1-0 the final. Wheeler, Brennan, Wilson with you. Kind of like last year in the playoffs. You know, Halifax, all kinds of pressure, just can't beat Pacific, and they hold on to that one-goal victory. What do you make of the performance by Pacific here in a winning effort, Jordan?
I think they're strong. I think that this preseason they've definitely connected and had some chemistry. I said before, and I think anyone who knows and follows this league knows that Pacific are going to retain the ball and keep it moving. But they're very methodical tonight. I think that they picked the right moments to get players free, like Saloof and isolating and switching the ball. But just possession, just being careful, just taking their time. But getting that moment where they got the penalty, that's really what changed the game, is getting that goal and getting that comfort.
Yeah, I like the way that they played tonight. And look, we talked at the beginning of the show that we were worried with Aparicio not in this squad anymore. We were worried about Didic, but I thought the midfielders controlled the game. I thought they were very, very good today. They contained Halifax at times in that middle of the park and won their individual battles. Defensively, I also thought they were sound. And they defended very well against an attack-minded team and a lot of firepower in that Halifax side. And they limited them. And they came away with a clean sheet. So overall, I thought it was a very good performance.
I thought they were balanced. They dug in and they did the dirty work. It's a workmanlike effort in the first game, and you take those 3 points all day, every day. Let's welcome in our Gatorade performer of the match. A big party played in today's clean sheet, and the full 3 points go to Pacific. It's the captain today in Thomas Meyer-Giguère. Thomas, congratulations on the victory. What do you make of the team's performance here in an excellent way to start the new campaign?
First of all, thank you so much. I think that we did what we had to do. I feel like it was not going our way. That's not how we want to play for sure. But that's why we brought some big pieces to the team. Ali Endom, Rion Mordars, and I thought I was able to keep the ball and for us up there and maybe fight more than we could last year. So all these points at the end of the day, that's what make a team champions. So that was very important.
You know, as a defender, when you're playing against the opposition and you see strikers going off the pitch, you know you're doing your job properly. Telfer came off, Volosky came off, Probo came on. They brought on Farron, they brought on Daniels, and you still contained them and walked away with a clean sheet. Now, how much confidence does this give you as a back line now and a team moving forward?
I think it gives us a lot of confidence because I think a lot of people had doubt when we lost some players last year. This offseason. So it gives us a lot of confidence, and it just shows that football is a team sport. We all defend together. I saw when Eric Lajeunesse came on, monster. He blocked everything, and that's what we need from everyone. And congrats everyone at that back line, even in Belgasdov. Very great game. Thank you so much.
Thomas, mon frère, you had a great game. But talk to me and talk to us about the partnership, because Didic has left, and that has been your partner since 2021. You guys played many games together. And now you have Amadoume and Andom next to you. And even Gazdov played today with so much confidence. How has that been this preseason, and what do you think the ceiling is for you guys as a back line?
I think the ceiling is very, very high because, like you said, with Paul Amadoume, who's a very young player, very talented, a lot of quality. And you bring the experience of Ali Endom, who's a great player on the ball. He can defend very strong. So I think that partnership is something that we've been looking for. And I think hopefully, I don't want to talk too fast, but hopefully we find something that we needed. And that's great. That's a great feeling. That's a great feeling. A lot of confidence from Paul. And I'm super happy with everyone. Sorry.
Well done, Thomas. Congratulations. Go and enjoy it with the boys. Thanks for doing this. And best of luck moving forward.
Thank you so much, guys. I appreciate it.
Thomas Meyer-Giguère, Gatorade performer of the match. He says that's not the way that they want to play, but that's what I like about James Merriman's sides. Like, they can be a little bit pragmatic at times, can't they? Like, you stick to your principles, but sometimes you just need to find a way to come up with the full 3 points. I think that's a statement victory because, like he said, a lot of people were kind of dismissing them or expecting less from this group based upon who they lost.
Well, look, let's be honest. It's early.
Sure.
It's your first match. Yeah, we know the way that they play and what they want to do. Good teams find a way to win. And today, they did. And they've got to keep improving on this momentum that they have now. You've won the first one. Can you carry that into the next match? The mistakes that you made in this match today, can you rectify them, correct them during the week, and make sure that you don't make them again next year? And the positives that you had, can you carry that into the next match for another 90 minutes and continue moving up this ladder?
Missing another key piece in the back as well, Kunle Dadaluke for this game, who was suspended based upon the incident that played out at the end of last season.
Yeah, and that's a player who bombs forward. I don't think there's anyone in the Canadian Premier League that's as fast as him and brings what he brings, just that 1v1 capability. But I'm thinking about Pacific FC towards the end of last season, and it didn't seem like a family. It didn't seem like a team that enjoyed being together, being on the road. And I know it's the first game, and there's a lot of season, a lot of football left to be played. But they were together today. They rolled up their sleeves. They did the dirty work. And that's something to be said early on when you have that type of start to the season.
It's a statement based upon perception or outside perception.
Yes.
And a nice step forward for Pacific here today. Here's your Volkswagen moment of the match. It came in the first half. And I thought Pacific were the better side in the first half. And far too much time and space was given to Ali Endom as he moved forward. Look at the gaps here. Like, someone just needs to close him down, Jimmy, in a moment like this.
The amount of space that he has, it's like driving a go-kart down Yonge Street. Like, he's so much room. And as he gets in there, and just to have that quality to play that ball into the path of his striker is absolutely perfect. And look, Julian Dunn loses his man. Obviously, he doesn't realize where he is and makes contact and down he goes.
Without engagement in the midfield, you're putting your back line on toast.
Yeah.
And that's what happened to Dunn. And Eamon Salouf, 7 goals last season, gets his first of the season from the penalty spot.
No, and you need him to step up big, Salouf. But back to Dunn, just quickly. In that position, your teammates have left you out to dry, right?
Yeah.
All you can do is really retreat. If he engages at all, they're slipping more in anyways. So he was in a pickle.
Yeah, no kidding. Pacific was happy with that. After that, they held back. They dropped a little bit deeper. They're fully committed. But Halifax did have chances to equalize in this game. Let's take a look at some of the second half chances that they created. It seemed like they were coming in waves. There was the one clear-cut stop by Gazdov. Other than that, would you categorize them as a bunch of half chances, Jordan Wilson?
Yeah, they just weren't sharp, and that's okay, seeing as this is the first match. Look, the Valesky with that chance, right? You're expecting game 4 or 5 in the season that you're burying that and putting that away, either chipping Gazdov or going around him. But got into good areas like we know that Halifax Wanderers would, but for me, those aren't chances that they put themselves in position to go and score. They're in the box. They're crosses. But as the games progress and as this team just reacclimates themselves with each other,
that's a
they'll be
great
scoring.
save.
But that one is a big
Great
save. That's
save.
the biggest stop of the match. But probably the closest chance that Halifax had. Strong save. I think Gazdov last year would leave that for a rebound. But pushing that out for a corner, that just senses a guy with confidence.
I mean, it wasn't a barrage like last year in the playoffs where it was like post, bar, chance. I mean, how much of this is the players just maybe not being their sharpest game, number one, hitting the targets?
That's it. Look, I mean, if they weren't getting into those areas and they weren't creating the chances, then it's panic time. But they did. They got in the areas. It was just that they lacked the quality in that final third. That last little touch that they had. That one cross that we came over, remember, I think it was Fernandez that we were saying. He's got to let the ball just drop a little bit lower and then have a good little pop at it. And I think they just snatched at a couple of things today. But that will come in time. I
will say it was a little bit of a surprise. And we'll hear from Halifax Wanderers head coach Patrice Geiser after this one that players like Massimo Farron and Aiden Daniels, how good he was against Pacific in the playoffs, didn't start this game.
I feel like if you don't start them, that's fine. That's up to a manager. Sometimes you want to go with maybe Telfer. You feel like he has more upside because of his physicality. I just think, and what I would say to Patrice Geiser if I'm critiquing, is subbing those players in sooner. They came on in the 72nd minute. Yeah. Jimmy, you know, I never call you Jimmy. Gaff, my manager. Sometimes you have to put players on earlier to just give them more time to get into the game. I think a sub in the 60th or the 55th minute for those two might have helped Halifax Wanderers to really get back into the game. When you did it so late, there's not much they could do.
Yeah. It wasn't all for naught for Halifax. Their process still looks really good. Has some very good players in that team. And they got that one trip to the West Coast out of the way. Game number 1 of the season. So just have to do that one more time. Look at that. 13 shots, just 2 finding target. Their pass completion percentage was around 87% in the game as well. Again, the attacking third just needs to be a little bit more crisp, a little bit more clean. Halifax did well, Pacific did well to hang on to the 1-0 home victory. plenty more to come. We'll continue to break down this one. Look back on the other games today, and you're going to hear from the Commissioner, Mark Noonan, as well as our post-match show moves on. This is a CIBC Canadian Premier League match day. Pacific win 1-0, take the full 3 points in their season opener.
Allstate and its 900 agents proudly support Canadian soccer at every level. Visit allstate.ca.
CIBC is a proud partner of the Canadian Premier League.
Would you like the extended warranty for $150?
Go ad-free for $29.99.
Only 3 easy payments of $49.99 if you act now.
We make thousands of financial decisions every day. Each one affects bigger decisions tomorrow. Stay on top of it all with the CIBC Smart Account.
Tony Bet.
At Tony Bet, get treated like a VIP. Bet on live games with odds on all sorts of sports. That's what you get when you bet with
Tony Bet.
In the third and final match of this opening day of the 2024 Canadian Premier League season, Pacific get past Halifax Wanderers 1-0 the final. With the start of the new season, also means the Commissioner, Mark Noonan, gets put in the spotlight as well. Here it is.
Commissioner of the CPL, Mark Noonan, joining us here in our One Soccer studio. The relationship between Canadian soccer business and Canada Soccer looks like it's just taken a bit of a turn in that there's finally some leadership at Canada Soccer with Kevin Blue coming on in as the General Secretary. What kind of optimism does that provide in being able to have this relationship move forward?
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head. Is having stable leadership within the Federation is really important to all the stakeholders. We've had a lot of change, even since I've been here 18, 19 months. This is the third General Secretary that I've worked with. I've had 2 presidents. We've got a presidential election coming up next month. And so the better leadership and stability that the Federation can provide to all stakeholders, the better it is for all of us.
What have the conversations been like so far? I know that he just took over for about a month now, but what have those conversations been like? Very productive. You got to give Kevin credit. He is worked tirelessly in his first 30 days. He's talked to a lot of people. He's open-minded. He's solutions-oriented, but he's also 30 days into the gig. So you got to give the guy a little bit of slack. But even this week, we had a 90-minute meeting to talk about what are the possibilities, and we're encouraged by that. And we need alignment and we need unity in soccer in Canada. These next 2 years, starting with She Believes, Copa America, Olympics, rolling into 2026 and 2027 Women's World Cup, we have to be unified as a sport. If we're not unified, if we're not aligned, shame on us. And hopefully working with Kevin, working with the other stakeholders, we can get there. Do you feel like there's that positivity there? Does it feel different than it was before? I have to. And we're going to play our part. We're excited about that. The things that are, you see the things that we're doing as a business to support the stakeholders, whether that's League One, whether that's ensuring that working with you all to ensure that Christine's final game got on a TSN platform. We're trying to do the right things to show the community that we're really behind it. CSB, as we know, is behind a lot of soccer in this country as well. And you just mentioned League One, and League One Canada is something that we've seen continue to grow, just promoting right now, relegation, promotion. What makes you proud about what you've been able to contribute to the ecosystem of soccer, even on that semi-professional side of things, which there are a lot of women's teams as well? Yeah, I think one of the things that people don't see there is that those are the building blocks that are essential
And a shout out to Dino Rossi and Matt Braithwaite and the whole team who has built that. When we took over League One in 2019, it had 40 clubs. This year we are about 200 clubs. I think 110 men, 90 women, highest level of women's soccer in this country with the Interprovincial Championship. And what people need to realize is about 10% of the players that come through League One end up playing professionally, and many of them go on to represent their countries. So it's an incredibly important building block. And when you think about it, the larger there is, the more teams there are on League One, the bigger League One is, more players come into the system, and more competition. It's going to improve every level, CPL all the way up to the national team.
The interview right there, a lot more smooth than my intro. It's been a long day. I'm in like preseason mode to build up my fitness. The Canadian Championships are returning right here on One Soccer. The 2024 TELUS Canadian Championship begins April 23rd. We cannot wait. As it says on the screen, all matches are live right here on One Soccer. We'll put a bow on the opening day. Still one more match to come tomorrow. We'll look ahead to Vancouver FC and Valor next as match day rolls on, presented by CIBC. Pacific 1, Halifax Wanderers 0. It's the Canadian Premier League right here on One Soccer.
Power doesn't sound like it used to. The all-electric ID4 with instant acceleration. Electric feels good.
Volkswagen.
Degree 72-hour non-stop protection. Antiperspirant with motion sense. Tested to the limit. Degree keeps working when others stop.
These days at your local Legion, we're marching to the beat of a different drum. On a mission to support veterans, to have fun, and to welcome everyone to our ranks. You don't have to be a veteran to join the Legion. And as a member, you'll join thousands of others serving our veterans, our communities, and our country. Oh yeah, and our Member Perks program will save you thousands on shopping, dining, products, and services across the country. Join us at legion.ca.
It's a winning start for Pacific. They beat Halifax Wanderers 1-0 the final from Starlight Stadium, Langford, British Columbia. With post-match reaction, let's hear from the Halifax Wanderers head coach Patrice Geyser and their captain Andre Rampersad.
Yeah, for sure. They got a great team. We have a lot of familiarity with Pierre having played here and our guys knowing each other. So I think for me, this is what Canadian soccer is about, right? A beautiful day, great venue. Hopefully this rivalry grows to pack up both stadiums every time we play each other, because nobody wants to play a meaningless game, you know. Sadly, and I say this on the losing end, I'd rather play a game full of passion and sometimes come out of the losing end, or hopefully mostly on the winning end, but then you feel like you're growing the game, you're part of something bigger that this country needs to continue to grow the game.
Andre, I just kind of want to ask you about the goal in the 35th minute. It feels like up until then you guys did well to stay compact. They break the line, they get the penalty. How frustrating is it to give up a goal after you guys defended so well?
Yeah, I mean, counter-attacking goals are always going to hurt, obviously, because it's something that we speak about before. Some things we could have controlled, but obviously they got the PK and they scored. But credit to the group for the resilience shown after that. I think that's, as coach said, that's when we started to knock ball after, and I think the second half was amazing. I don't think they really had any chances unless we probably lost the ball or something. So credit to the guys, and we pick ourselves up and we go again on Thursday.
Patrice, I want to ask you about that defensive setup. You guys came up with a 3-4-3, wing backs very aggressive. Was this something based on the pitch being a bit more narrow? Is this something we're going to see a lot from your team this year?
Well, we did say last year we wanted to be more unpredictable, and this is one of the added layers we've looked to add in the off season. In preseason we had some bumps and bruises, but what we were able to do is manage things tactically. So I thought it's something that's going to make us even more unpredictable, because we are now able to play in a high, in a mid, and a low block. So, I think I just looked at the stats. I think they had only 4 shots total. So I thought we did a really good job. We created a lot of uneasy moments for them.
I'm curious, Patrice, Vanni Sartini over in Vancouver, he always jokes that he uses the only true back three in the world. I know you guys spoke a bunch in preseason. You had a chance to visit Whitecaps. Did he give you any advice on using a system?
Yeah, for sure. I've spent some time there and was there. Yeah, for sure. There's some inspiration there, and we've had a lot of conversations about it. And you look at the modern day football today, maybe the 2 best teams in the world are Bayer Leverkusen and Inter, who are also going. But you could question if they're 3 or 5. So I thought today we were a true back 3.
Andre, to use a hockey term, was there any chirping between you and Rayon up there today?
Yeah, of course, it's football, Obviously, that's my boy from Trinidad, but when we get on the pitch, it's battle, You can see right off from the first whistle, he passed by me and he bumped me, and I was like, all right, we're going to go after it today. So that's just football, and sometimes it's get like that. When you leave the pitch, it's back to whatever.
What's to say about this league? You have 3 internationals from TNT out there on the pitch.
Yeah, I think, obviously, you look at CONCACAF and the guys who play in the CONCACAF. Pacific bringing in Rion is a big one. We going out to get Telfer, it's a big one. It's only good for the league. It's going to grow the league, and I think, it's only betterment.
The first question on Zoom goes to you, Josh. Go ahead.
Hello, Andre and Patrice. Josh from the Wanderers Notebook. I just had a question about the starting 11. Obviously, you have a good problem in so much you have a very deep roster with a lot of quality players. Can you walk me through some of your selections today, Patrice, and maybe the thought about having, Massimo Ferrin and Nate Daniel start on the bench, which may have surprised some people?
Yeah, listen, we have a deep squad, and if we don't give guys rewards and we don't keep our opponents guessing, then it's never going to be able to, kind of being back to what I said earlier, being unpredictable, right? We knew that Mass can only get 1 game this week, so by playing today, we know Mass won't be available for selection on Thursday, most likely, but being in that tough situation, I would have rather played him today to get some minutes and sit him, and then we return home. And again, Telfer's been really good in the offseason. Gigi was fantastic and played in a lot of pockets. So we're lucky that there's a battle at every position, and we're going to reward the guys based on the work that they're doing this week and not what they did last season.
Any follow-up questions?
Yep, just one. As you already discussed a little bit, you ran with the back 3 today with Nimick, Dunn, and Lockery. At various points, Nimick and Lockery were activating and going further up the pitch. Overall, how do you think they performed, and is this something that you can see yourself sticking with for multiple matches this year?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a little biased, but you don't generally see 6'3" center backs end up in the opposition 18, and sometimes we had both. So I think they were just a bit below very good, but trending there. And what's stopping them is obviously a clean sheet and us winning. But they can both pass, they can play multiple positions, and our recruitment has been based around players who can allow us to adapt differently and be able to play in different positions. So again, 1 game at a time, 1 plan at a time. We worked really hard in the offseason to add different tactical ideas, and that's certainly one that we had.
Thanks, Josh.
Patrice guys are providing the explanation, squad rotation, his team selection in this one. He's right, there's a quick turnaround. They play Thursday night at Vancouver FC, who then play tomorrow, Vancouver FC, as they host Valor. Sunday at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time, our pre-match begins. So there are the three scores from today. Atletico Ottawa victorious 2-1 over York. We have Forge 2-1 victors over Cavalry, and of course the Pacific 1-0 victory over Halifax. Jimmy Brennan, is there a storyline or something that played out today that caught your eye above the rest?
I think it's going to be the game today that I actually called with Forge and Cavalry. During the offseason, everybody was talking about Ottawa and all these other teams that building and bringing these great squads together and players, but there wasn't much talk about Forge. How can you leave this team out? They continually get to the finals and continually win matches, and today was no different. It was a good, hard-fought match with Cavalry. They went 1-0 down, and this is them missing Henry, missing James, missing Rama, who've moved on. They've brought some players in, and then Tristan Borges stands on his head again. Within 10 minutes, they scored 2 goals and come away with 3 points. So I thought, again, they just keep surprising everybody, but nobody wants to talk about them.
What a coup when Borges doesn't play a big role in the team last year. Had 2 goals, including the one in the final. And Chouanier was gone for, 60-70% of the season, yet they come back in. It's kind of like new signings for the team. What stood out to you, Jordan?
Yeah, the first match. I mean, Atletico Ottawa, York United. But specifically, I'll just focus on Atletico Ottawa because it's going to be the story of the year, right? Do they get it right? Do they get back to the playoffs? Are they going to be a team that competes for a championship? Today, we saw a team that had someone in it that has played for you, Jim, in terms of Manny Aparicio, who has that engine, who has that bit of fire. But they're just bodies now, and how they kind of just have turned on an axis. Before, a team that would defend and would never come back if they conceded first. Now they have gems within their squad, guys that can maybe go and do what Manny did with a goal or assist. They have a Balou Tabla back. Basically, what I'm trying to say with this Atletico Ottawa team, there are no excuses. This is the time to go for it. And what I mean by no excuses is not just making the playoffs. They've assembled a team, or they keep talking about assembling a team that wants to compete for a championship. And we saw a glimpse today of what they could do with the comeback. But I kind of like the pieces that they've added, Wheels. I hope to see more of it, but they still have a lot to prove and come together.
A lot of quality in that Atletico Ottawa team. Tomorrow's game, really quickly, Jordan. Valor, their first of 8, including Canadian Championship, away from home to start the season. Taking on Vancouver with the expansion year in the rearview mirror. What's your expectation tomorrow? What do you think is going to happen?
Both these sides have missed out on the playoffs last season. Obviously, it's Vancouver's first season, and Valor have never made it. But one of these teams, I feel it in my gut, has the ability to go far. I think Valley have assembled a nice squad. Vancouver look very good. They're seasoned vets, seasoned CPL players. One of these teams have to go far. They have to go and make it. But I think tomorrow you're going to see an even match.
Just want to say it's great to be back right here on One Soccer presenting the Canadian Premier League. 3 wins today. Last year, remember, there was like draw. 5 out of the first 8 games ended in a draw. So we're off to a good start with teams going out and getting the full 3 points. Thanks, Jimmy, for stepping in the studio. Double duty for you today.
Come on, Gaff.
No, it was good. It's good hanging out
done.
with you guys.
Well
Come
done.
on, Gaff.
Thanks, pal. Thanks, pal. And Jordan Wilson looking sharp in the pink suit.
Thank you, Dad.
Setting the standard to be on set right here in One Soccer.
Tracksuit tomorrow.
Questionable. Questionable. Come on.
Manny Aparicio, perhaps the biggest star performer of the day. He set up this match winner. Chris Twardick gets it in his Atletico Ottawa debut, 2-1 final in our nation's capital. Another good one, Sergio Camargo in his 100th appearance opened the scoring for Cavalry, but just like in the Canadian Premier League final, Borges and Badibanga bang back for Forge. They win 2-1 as well. And of course, in the third of 3, Pacific, through an Ayman Salouf penalty, beat Halifax 1-0. What a day in the Canadian Premier League. What a season it will be here in 2024. So the 3 games in the books, 1 more tomorrow. We hope that you join us at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 3:30 Pacific for Vancouver FC and Valor. On behalf of Jimmy, Jordan, and Andy Petrillo, who somehow snuck out early, and our entire crew here at One Soccer, I am Gareth Wheeler. This has been the Canadian Premier League right here on One Soccer.